The Little Angel Andal. Between the 6th and 9th centuries, there were a group of 12 saints who were poets and devotees of Lord Vishnu. They were known as the Alvars. The first Alvar, Vishnu Chittar, lived in the South India in a place called Aadi Pooram. The name Vishnu Chittar means one who has Vishnu in his mind. He was a poet and sang many songs praising Lord Krishna. He was also called Periyalvar, meaning the first Alvar. Vishnu Chittar spent his life serving Lord Vishnu in a nearby temple. He had a beautiful garden outside his house. Every day, he religiously made a garland for Vishnu with the flowers of his garden. He did not have a care in the world. He was poor yet contented. He enjoyed singing and composing songs in the praise of Krishna. As usual, one Friday, Vishnu Chittar went to his garden early in the morning to pick flowers for the garland. To his surprise, he heard the sound of a baby crying near the tulsi plant. Vishnu Chittar took a closer look and saw a pretty baby girl. She looked at him with her beautiful big eyes and smiled. Her face looked radiant. It was as though Goddess Earth appeared from below. Vishnu Chittar took this baby as a gift from God. The baby had beautiful, lovely, long black hair, and hence Vishnu Chittar lovingly named her Kodai, which meant beautiful hair in the Tamil language. Kodai grew up to be a beautiful child. Even as a child, she constantly asked her father to tell her stories of Krishna. Vishnu Chittar told her stories of Krishna's childhood pranks. As Kodai listened to these stories, she imagined herself playing and talking with Krishna in Gokul. Kodai was not like other little girls. She never felt as though God was someone different from her. She always felt extremely close to Vishnu. She decided that one day she would marry Lord Ranganathan, which was the name of Vishnu in the temple in Srirangam. Her friends made fun of her. They said it is impossible to marry God. You can think about God in your mind, but how can you physically marry Vishnu? You are out of your mind. But Kodai would never listen to them. Several people of the village thought that she was silly. They gossiped behind her back. But Vishnu Chittar did not discourage his daughter. He told her, "Ignore their words. There is nothing wrong in praying to God." One day, Vishnu Chittar called his daughter and said, "Kodai, the month of December is near. This is an auspicious time for gods. Why don't you pray to Vishnu during this month? He will definitely answer your prayers." Kodai considered her father as her teacher. She and a few friends took a vow to pray to Vishnu that entire month. Kodai imagined their little village to be Vrindavan and the local Poigai river to be Yamuna. Just like the woman of Vrindavan won Krishna's heart, Kodai was determined to win Vishnu's heart. During this time, Kodai composed 30 devotional songs called the Tirupavai in praise of Vishnu. Towards the end, Vishnu appeared and said, I am pleased with all of you. What is your wish? Did you want more wealth, long life, beauty, or anything else? Kodai replied, I do not wish for anything but to be with you always. It might be even creating desire, but please help me convert that desire to your love and devotion. Vishnu blessed Kodai and vanished. One morning, Kodai had a plan. She had seen several weddings where the bride and grooms exchanged garlands. Kodai secretly wore the garland that her father had made for the god. She thought that if that garland that she wore was offered to Lord Vishnu in the temple, she would be automatically married to the god. Vishnu Chittar, unaware of his daughter's act, took the garland and offered it to the priest at the temple. As the priest was about to place the garland on the idol of Vishnu, he noticed a strand of hair on the garland. He screamed at Vishnu Chittar, Don't you know that it is wrong to wear something on oneself before offering it to the god? Get me a new one. The priest returned the garland to Vishnu Chittar. Vishnu Chittar was very sad and disappointed. He felt he had committed a big mistake and offended God. This was something he never did before. Vishnu Chittar scolded Kodai and said, You are not supposed to play a prank with God. I am so disappointed with you. Then he made a fresh garland and ran back to the temple. Kodai became very upset at the turn of events. Back at the temple, when the priest offered the new garland that Vishnu Chittar brought, Vishnu refused it. There was a loud voice that said, I do not want this garland. I want the one that was worn by Kodai. The priest and Vishnu Chittar were speechless. Back home, Vishnu Chittar apologized to Kodai and took her garland back to the temple. Everyone in the village started addressing Kodai as Andal, which meant the girl who won God's heart. Vishnu Chittar told his daughter, Kodai, you are so lucky that Vishnu asked for your garland specifically. I did not understand your devotion when I got angry with you. Kodai was happy again. For several nights, Vishnu came in Kodai's dream and mentioned that he would come soon to marry her. So, Vishnu Chittar and Kodai were eagerly waiting for that great day. One day, Vishnu Chittar was sitting outside his cottage. There was a huge palanquin followed by several people and loud chants. A handsome stranger got off and approached Vishnu Chittar. The young man approached Vishnu Chittar and said, I have come here to ask you for your daughter's hand in marriage. Vishnu Chittar was surprised. He asked, Who are you? Do I know you? The young man smiled and replied, You have been serving me every day, and yet you do not recognize me? Vishnu Chittar just then realized that this stranger was none other than Vishnu. Vishnu Chittar ran and told Kodai that her dream had come true. Kodai was not surprised. She had been waiting for this moment. It was as though the events of her dream were replaying. She ran out and offered a garland to the young stranger. The young stranger held her hand and they both got into the palanquin. The streets were all miraculously decorated for the wedding. There were flowers everywhere and musical instruments were being played. As the palanquin was taken down the streets, Vishnu Chittar followed his daughter. It led him to Srirangam temple. The young man and Andal ran towards the holy altar of the temple where the idol is kept. The young man merged into the idol of Lord Vishnu and Andal merged into God as well. Seeing his daughter vanish into thin air, Vishnu Chittar cried in front of the Lord. On one hand, he was very happy that his daughter's wish was fulfilled. On the other hand, he wished to be with Vishnu like his daughter. At this point, Vishnu said, "Do not worry, Vishnu Chittar. You need to build a temple for Andal and publicize her songs to the rest of the world. After that, you will also unite with me." After many years, as Vishnu had promised, Vishnu Chittar merged with God as well.